This is my 1971 GTO restoration project. In this week's episode, I play with a foam cannon, wife points at car parts, I talk to myself, I take way too long to pull a transmission, I stare at an engine, I make duct tape valve covers, and finally, I clean more car parts. Let's get to it. You know, I probably should have loosened this line first. Let's go ahead and do that. Is it an inch? Yes. The beauty of editing. You'll just get this off in the first try. Just had to work it out. Go ahead and take this fuel filter off. Okay, there's some debris in there. It's not too bad though. I expect the inside of the tank to look pretty good. Not too shabby. Okay, now we can take this off. Well, that's sort of unexpected. I don't really know why they would have run that particular setup. Maybe this was leaking. They thought, well, hey, we'll just put that there. I'm not sure what the thought was, but it was starting to come apart. So moving on, we won't be putting it back that way. Probably should get this hose out of my way, huh? Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Got some fuzzies. Come on, get off there. Come on, get up. There we go. Yeah. Okay, all right, carrying on. Okay, what are we gonna find? Let's get this valve cover off. Well, she looks brand new. Lifters feel good, or push rods, I should say. Feel good, everything looks really nice. Okay, let's see the other side here. Look at that. The inside of these, you know, not so bad either. Quite a bit of buildup on that one. All right. By the way, these frame horns, which are over here, I don't know if you can see it off frame, they hurt. Just when you hit them with your knee, it's better than a cup of coffee. Just keeping that in mind. I already had a collision with one earlier. Well, that was rubbing. That right there is probably why I bet it was blowing some fuses because that's rubbed through on this alternator bracket right there. Where's my screwdriver? Just had it. Right here. Right in front of my face. When I was the shop foreman over at a large Chevy dealership, one of my techs used to tell me I needed a GoPro on my head. Keep track of where I set stuff. We could just go back and watch it and go, that's where you put it. So that would have been fun. So I'm just popping this hose off for the heater. Dropped it. All right, there we go. Yep, tight. So we're definitely gonna have a little coolant and pass the gasket over here. Hopefully that's all it is. I think what I missed the most before I started filming was no music, so it's just dead air. And if I play music, well then I guess you risk getting some kind of a copyright strike. So I work in silence and pretend that there's music. Let's get this out of the way, I guess. It's even got the little red tab. Probably the wire that's getting, never mind, it's not the wire being chafed, I think. Is it supposed to have a fuse? I guess I'll have to look at the schematic and find out. We'll leave that. Oh, hey, there's one more bolt. I forgot. It's right here. Oh, two more. Oh, man, that one just went right under the lift. Actually, I can leave that one. All right, I'm gonna see if I can track down this bolt real quick that I dropped. Where'd you go? There you are. Tight. Yep, very tight. Definitely glad I'm doing the gasket because it's beginning to leak. All right, I'm gonna disconnect. I'll leave that. There's no reason to take that off, but I gotta take those out. Yep, just set it here. Go ahead and take this out. Made in the USA. Can't tell. Really stamped on it. Doesn't say Delco Remy or anything. Keep that together. Can I get my little ratchet in there? Find out. Probably not. Oh yeah. Perfect. Snap-on tools to the rescue. Look, I want to try to keep these together in the way they were, but it looks like these are all the same size until you get here, and then you got one flat. Pop those out of there. Cleaned up. Now to deal with that piece of poo. What? There we go. Well, it's not coming off. This is a good time for a break. Right, we're just going to take this guy out. There's a socket on the big one because this is not going to go back in. You've lived your last, my friend. Will no longer be giving me temperature readings. Okay, oh, one more. Oh, bolt in the front. Got to get that one. Some of you fellas were looking at the screen going, no, don't do that. Yep. Those are the noises you make. Muy importante. Let's put that there. Now I got to slide her off. There we go. Okay. Mouse nest. Gross. Hey, free socket. Not too shabby. So gross. I hate mouse nests and poo. There's some poo. Let's just get in here and that. Yep, that absorbs the pee and poo water. Okay, I'll be back. Don't want to pry on this too hard. Warp it, there we go. All right, let's get you guys in here. Everything looks really good. Flat tap it, minimal wear on the cam, a little bit on the lobes, right at the surface there. I'm wondering if maybe they're not running enough zinc, but everything looks pretty good. Springs, rockers, all that stuff looks good. A little adjustment on that one. They all turn nice. It's got too much tension on it because it's down. Those all turn nice. Everything looks really good. Minimal wear. So yeah, as he described, I don't know when it was rebuilt, but it was done probably in the last 10 years would be my guess, and not driven very much. Pretty happy with that. All right, on to the next steps. Here we go. Earlier this week, I disassembled the car, pressure washed, and now I have these parts I need to clean. The goal today is going to be get them all cleaned, sandblasted, painted. A lot of this stuff is just, this valley pan has got quite a bit of, there was a rat's nest right here. And yeah, it's just peeling paint. So we're gonna get these looking real nice. And these awesome Mickey Thompson, I don't know, circa 1990s probably, you guys can tell me, valve covers, but we are gonna use these again. So I'm gonna clean these up. The process is gonna be get this old paint off. I mean, it's not that bad, but there's just a lot of chips and things along the way. So get it cleaned off, painted, and then, you know, restore it, get that back. And I got a helper today. She, my lovely, it's Valentine's Day, by the way. There's my lovely wife. She's hiding her face. Pull that hat up a little bit so I can see you. There she is. That's my lovely wife. I got a helper today, which is amazing. So, world, wife, world. 25 years she's put up with me, fellas. 25 Valentines, and she chooses to spend this day helping me with all this. So I got to get to work. I just got to get started. So let's stop talking and get to work, I guess. right, guys, so I've got some 220 wet dry paper glued to the block, and before I paint it, prime it, I want to just get some of this rough out. It'll get a final finish when it's all done, but I'm just going to take this block of wood and I'm just going to grain one direction, not the band. You get that joke? Yeah, it's called One Direction. And after you do this 2,000 or 3,000 times, eventually you'll have a finish that you like. This is just getting it prepped though. This isn't going to be the final finish. I'm just knocking down the blasting so I can see. I've got quite a bit of scratching actually in this part here. So it's going to take a little bit of work. And I don't want to paint that because then when I paint it and go to take it off, the paint will be inside the scratches. So I'm going to just work this down. And after I do this 2,000 or 3,000 times, then you end up with something like this, where it looks pretty good. This was quite uneven. It wasn't a flat surface. So I just kept going over it until I got what I was looking for. It's a little bit low here still, but I don't think I need to keep going. So this is good for paint. When it's all said and done, same process to remove the paint and it'll look really sharp. So I'm going to continue on this and I'll come back when I'm ready to paint. So I started painting with the wrong stuff, fellas. Yep, that's for the headers. We'll try this again. It's been a long day, guys. Appreciate my wife for hanging all day long with me, my camera person. Thanks. We're going to shut it down for the night, go home, get some food. And when I come back on Monday, I will start putting it back together and keep trucking on. All right, well, we'll see you guys next week. Until then. Okay, gang, I'm back. And I'm working on getting this engine out so I can clean it up, paint it, have access to the frame for cleaning, scraping, painting, etc. Currently, I'm going to work on getting these headers out, which is going to be tight, I can tell. Now, I already did something off camera because, you know, I just wanted to listen to music while I worked today. You can't do that when you're filming for YouTube, unless you're montaging or whatever, and then you can, you know, scrub through it. But I got in here and just sort of got things cleaned up and prepared. I already pulled the starter out. I'm sure all of you have seen that 1,000 times. So you didn't miss anything. Sorry if you wanted to see it, but like I said, I just wanted to get in here and kind of work and get some things done. So that being said, I'm working on the headers at this moment. This is my favorite wrench. It's a Snap-on. Got it a long time ago. And these bolts are pretty tight they're not tight, like too tight. It's a tight fit. So I'm gonna be struggling along with this. Anyway, I'm gonna get to work now. Listen to the clink and clang of my wrenches. I try to get in here and work some of these loose. Some of these are gonna be a real fight. I've already taken the flange bolts off on the headers. And like I said, took the starter out. And that's about it so far. Oh, I took the transmission inspection cover off. I did pre-shoot these a couple of days ago with PB Blaster, hoping to make my life a little easier. So far, so good. It's a very, very tight fit. This one's gonna be fun. This guy right here. This guy, I'm pretty sure is gonna be an open end. I marvel that he could even get, somebody could even get in there and get this one tight. Oh, well, it wasn't that tight. Right to the floor. Where's my magnet? Okay, well, I learned a few things on that side. Hopefully this side will be a little easier. I've learned a couple of rules along the way. Kiss of death when you say all you gotta do. As soon as you say all you gotta do, the whole thing's gonna fall apart. So I'm not gonna say all you gotta do, but I am gonna hope that I learned a few things on that side and it'll make it a little easier. On that side, I was able to get to a couple of them with extension and a ratchet. This side is blocked by the frame, particular bends, and the oil filter. So again, I'm just gonna go from up here, and we're off to a good start because this is a different size over here. So I don't get to use my favorite wrench. Excellent. How about this one? Wishful thinking. The other side kind of just fell out, and they didn't put any kind of thread locker on. I'm probably grateful for that now. I can see the air conditioning is going to be in the way. That light in there? Nope, still there. Just kind of hidden. Now I could definitely make my life easier, probably just go underneath. Oh, that wasn't bad. You guys will notice that I'm stubborn. I hate to make, 5 different moves to go after one piece of hardware. I will. I'll even fight myself and waste time just to get something out sometimes. I don't know that's the smartest idea, but I get stubborn. But truly, there is no way to get underneath and access these middle ones. Oh, and it came out. I just need you to turn a couple more turns, little buddy. Come on, little fella. Yep, I'm gaining on her. Come on, give it back. It's my wrench. You can't have it. I think we're free. We are free. All right. There is no way that's coming out of there without this engine being up. Nope, not gonna happen. I'm gonna put a pause on getting this engine out. I'm just a few bolts away before I pull it out. And I realized it'll make my life a lot easier if I put the intake manifold back on. So I've got my new gaskets. I'm just gonna quickly clean this up. So a lot of guys like to use these discs. We used them a lot back in the day in the dealership. And then anyone who worked for GM or Chevy for a while will know the story, especially with the Vortec engines. When this guy was being used and you were whizzing along cleaning this, there's oxides coming off this disc, go down into the intake, or the valley down here, and the oil would wash it down, get picked up by the oil pump, and the car would come back within a few hundred miles with a pretty bad rod knock. And this got to the point where they realized what was going on and they said, do not use these anymore. So I will take a razor blade, new one, and I'll just gently hold it flat and scrape. You'll see it does a nice job getting the debris off the surface. If you've got some gasket stuck there, you can kind of get under it. I obviously put towels down here, but in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and get the valley pan or the push rod cover back on, and then I'll go ahead and clean and I don't have to worry about anything going down in here. I thought I would just, before I got onto that, talk about this before I forgot. Even though I've been very careful, take a look around, make sure sand or anything. I washed the engine down really well before I took it apart because with my best efforts of covering it, there was still sand in the crevices up here, but I got it all very clean. And I will still double check, make sure there's nothing that's fallen down in here. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Everything looks fine. Once I have this push rod cover in, I will blow this out one more time. So one time, many years ago, I did an intake manifold on a 4.3 liter Vortec. It was in a Blazer. And when I pulled the intake off, somebody had replaced the distributor cap, tiny little torque screws, and they had left one back here. When I pulled it off, it fell right in that cylinder. So what do you think it sounded like when I started it? And what was funny is this old guy walked over and he said, "Oh, that's just carbon." And he got in there, he's all, "Waka-ka, waka." I'm like, "No, shut her down. That's not carbon." I ended up pulling the cylinder head off, and stuck right in the piston, kinked over, was the screw. Never happened again after that, I promise you. So these are some of the things that I've picked up over the years through hardship. Just gonna clean this where the push rod cover is gonna go down, or the mating surface, if I want to sound professional. I'm going to install the push rod plate to the mating surface of the engine block. Just gonna put my rag there to keep the debris from going down in the engine, and then just feels good. Just a little bit of debris, but I'm trying to keep everything as much as possible out of the engine. You can kind of flush them when you're done, but let's just not put it in there in the first place if it's at all avoidable. Sounds good. They just have a sound when they're nice and, yeah. So I take a little Permatex high tack, paint it on, help stick it on. And on this side, I will put some Permatex Ultra Gray. And I just have really good luck with the Ultra Gray. It's very oil resistant. I think I'm gonna cut that a little bigger. It's a little too small. Let's see how that does. That's a little better. I think just a little bigger. Trying not to get in the way of the camera here. That's better. And it lets me just put even pressure, squeeze her out of there, make a nice even bead. I'm sure you can't see this, but I'll show you the finished bead. Still gives the forearm a little workout. All right, here we go. I'm sure I'm totally blocking the shot. That's okay, you get the point. And I might fix just a couple of these rough spots here. So you can see it's a pretty nice even bead all the way around for the most part. Got a little messy in the front, that's okay. And let's see if I can get it in here like that. There you go. Try to get this. On one shot like that. There we go. She's just taking a long time to get down there. All right. Okay, got my little handle on here, and I'm just gonna set her down just like that. Oh yeah, I think somebody put a spacer on here because the bolt might be too long. Yeah, there was some language in the installation about making sure that the bolt isn't too long for that. That's probably why they put that additional spacer, unless it's supposed to be there. I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna torque this down to 25 foot-pounds according to Metal Rock, and it's just a cross pattern. 2, 3. There you go. I didn't have that one ready. I thought I did. Missed one. Yeah. Actually, I can use this one. Went to the wrong side. I don't think it's gonna kill anything. I should have gone to this side first. That one relaxed a little bit. All right. Okay, that is intake manifold on. Man, that took too long. All right, so after I get the engine out today, get the frame cleaned up, probably get the air conditioning off. I think that's probably a worthy goal. That way I have access to the whole firewall to clean that up. Paint is gonna take the longest for sure. So I think I'm just gonna get started. We'll get this hose off first. She's gonna make a mess. And so I'm just removing the fuel pump, fuel lines, the feed and return, which will get, all of this rubber will get removed for high pressure fuel line for fuel injection. Yeah, all right. I'll leave that attached for now. I don't know how much siphon action we're gonna have, hopefully not much. Didn't think that was gonna work. But I thought I would try. That one did. See if we get in here. There we go. Like butter. Well, I probably should have said at the outset that I was going to pull the whole drivetrain, because, you know, I mean, why not? So I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to mark that. So, all right. And there's just no fast way to do these, right, fellas? I mean, I guess if I had like a ratcheting 1/2 inch. Oh, that one was already loose. That one was happy to escape. All right, so we're working these out. Why are you stuck? Huh, all right, well, good. And you shut off, thank you. So glad it didn't just purge itself all over the floor. How's it look? Looks good. Yeah, well, I should probably go ahead and put that on the list of things to replace. Why not? Cheap insurance. Look, it still has the nylon that they melted in there that you have to torch out before you press it out. So, original? Question mark? Pretty impressive if it is. I'm gonna go ahead and put some tape just to keep my caps from flying off and the needles going everywhere. And I'll add that to the list. U-joint. I don't even think I have a press here. I'll have to figure that out. I'll have to bring one, I guess. I'm sure some of you guys are out there going, just beat it with a hammer. Yeah, I know. Just beat it with a hammer. All right, see if I can get you guys in here. Okay, I'm pushing the torque converter back so that it's seated on the pump well, so that when I pull it out, it'll not just roll off the front, hopefully. That's the goal anyway. All right, guys, so I'm taking this out, and I realized that this, well, it's not a cotter pin. They clearly didn't have one that day, so they used a nail. And I guess, you know, whatever works, fellas. But, you know, it didn't fall out, right? Okay. All right. Okay, well, maybe when the transmission is coming out, then I'll just slide her off of there and pretend like I knew what I was doing. All right, now we're gonna get these hand bolts out so I can get the shift cable off. Just gonna set that aside. And I'll put these back where I took them out. Well, I had to get a little creative to support the transmission. My jack doesn't go high enough. Yes, I could bring the lift down, but I need it to be on the locks, and when it's on the next lock, it's too low for my head height. So I'm gonna try this. Hopefully it's not disastrous. I need to buy a pole jack very soon. Transmission cross member. Mount bolts, perfect. All right, what else do I need? Let's see. I lubricated these. Oh no, chopped the washer. Drop the other washer. Come on now. We need a little more thunder. That's fine. I see what I did. It's been a couple of minutes. I had to wrestle the cross member out. And now I've dropped the transmission down a bit. And I know this is gonna make a mess. So I'm gonna try and move quickly. All right, just trying to get the right angle on this thing. I'm gonna shove a rag in the hole because you know it's gonna empty itself. Okay, and it is emptying itself. All right, well, off camera, I got a small pair of vice grips in here. Derek would be proud. And my pry bar to apply the leverage needed to break this free because it was a little roundy already. So I got a smaller wrench. Makes life a little easier. And this angle is just stupid. Okay. Come on. Come on. Okay, freedom. So you guys can see I repositioned the jack, took the big block of wood out because that's not real safe. Put this strap in to do it so I could support the tranny while I pulled the wood out. And now I've got a strap around the transmission, so hopefully a few bolts later here we'll have some freedom. All right, let's try from this side. Got that one out. We need a shallow, even shallower socket, I think, to get to those top ones. Let's try. Those are the sounds you make when you bend over and your back is just aching. You say, ugh. Okay, get that one out. So you got one more little bugger. See what I gotta do to get at it. Oh, there's two more. Ow. That's much better. This might go badly. I'm trying a shallow. No, nope, that went just fine. Wasn't even that tight. Okay, little fella, we got one more. Don't fight me, just come right out. Oh, this just barely makes it. Kind of a weird angle, but let's see what happens here. Yep. Did we get her? Well, I can't see. I'm sure you can't see either. Probably got my head in the way. Yep, she's loose. I'm putting that one back in my hand. Got some damaged wires here. Huh. Somebody just twisted those together. That is a perfect repair. All right, let's try to bring it down a little bit. See if that gives me the angle I need. So what I'm up against here is the lip of the firewall. Take my safety strap out now, I think. Your service is no longer required. All right, we're gonna go with the much smaller, easier to wield, this guy. These last two that I put back in my hand. I really don't think I've ever had a transmission just want to fall out. Like this one. She's ready to go. Knew that was coming. See, and I've got tail shaft plugs to put in there, and I conveniently left them at home. Perfect. Okay. We should be free. And my torque converter is seated back. All right, here we go. Come on down. Ooh, you guys are probably saying, you're never gonna clear those headers. I think you're right. Man. Okay, well. There's that one. If you'll just stay out of the way for me. Now, here we go. I put the engine mount bolts back in just in case you guys are worried about that, but man, if I can just get you to stay up there for just a minute, please. Thank you. Oh. Stay. Just stay. Where's my pry bar? Oh, it's on the floor, conveniently. I knew this would be a little bit of a fight, but okay, that side's down.
blocked. Yep.
Yep, so just need to pull that one. I expect to hear the headers come crashing out on the floor.
You feel losing energy.
Yep.
Scoot towel. She's tipping forward, so do you want to hook on the forward one or do you want to manhandle it and not push the car back?
Well, I still need to clear the perch a bit more. And
I got the block removed so I can shoot back when you're ready.
we have to clear the K-member or frame.
Yeah, you look free.
Go ahead up. Header down.
Grab that vacuum line.
Shockingly light.
I've got the block behind that other
Hold on
one.
1 second.
You gotta go up.
Seems like we're held up on something.
I don't think so. Yeah, you're hitting that. Down below, you're hitting.
Oh, it's these plug wires. They're wrapped around. Come on. There we go.
There you go.
One more.
Those are wrapped around there. And then it has to clear the oil filter over here a little bit.
Up just a little.
A tire, we probably don't do it. What am I hitting on over there?
You're just on the
Oh,
tranny
tranny
lines.
lines?
Yeah. No biggie. Bring it down.
You get the,
Just
well, I guess it doesn't matter.
holder there. Watch that bar going towards the. There you go.
All right, well, hey everyone, I'm back for another day of work. Today it's going to be some cleaning up and getting ready to do some painting. Well, I got the oil pan all cleaned up. I checked the surface with a straight edge. Everything's good. Go ahead and get these gaskets on. Get this mounted back up to the engine so I can continue on with the cleaning and painting over there. I think I might have showed you guys this once before, maybe not, but this is my favorite tool I've had for, I don't even know at this point, probably 20 years, for squeezing out my silicone bead. The most important thing is just getting a continuous bead about the same length or width, I should say, all the way down. Making sure you don't have any gaps. It's pretty important. And then filling the corners on the block. That's huge. Right where these corners of the pan meet the block. Now I will go over there when I'm ready to stab this on there, and I will make sure the corners, all corners, have a nice bead. All right, so I put a nice bead right here in the corners where the front cover meets the block, and back here where the rear cap for the thrust bearing, right where that gap meets the corners, same thing, just a nice large bead. I mean, I get a little crazy on that. I'll wipe out the excess when I'm done. Set her down like that. Just let her go. Okay, she's on. I'm gonna torque them all down by hand. I'm gonna let it sit for a while. All right, we'll let that set up and come back and torque it. All right, while I'm waiting for that to skin a little bit, I'm gonna break out one of these, as some guys online refer to them as a cheek poker. I've got my safety glasses on because I've seen what happens when one of these little wires breaks loose and hits you right in the eyeball. And well, it's not pretty, fellas. So, all right, so I'm gonna break just some of this surface rust off. So I wanted to take a minute to talk about some of the curiosities I found while working on this. I've done a lot of Google research, reading these numbers. as I've cleaned the block and made some of these a little bit more visible. So here's what I've learned. Hopefully you guys can chime in if I don't have any of this right. I have Speed Pro or TRW forged pistons. There's a number on the top that reads 2365 Papa. They are oversized at 30 over, so the engine displacement would actually be a 462. The compression ratio is likely going to be still in the 8-to-1 or 8.4-to-1. Obviously, it's got the poly lock. I believe these are the 1.51 rockers. I don't think they're anything special. I can't find any numbers on them to give me anything more, but they look stock, standard. So some of the markings I found on the block are interesting. It is a period correct engine. What's interesting is, or what I found is, the block is stamped Foxtrot 142 back here, which would put it in like, I think mid 1972, June 14th of 1972. So the heads are from 1971. The head date codes are E141. The engine code is YC. The block casting is 485, 428. One of the ones I've been struggling with is the number right over here next to the water pump, just down on the side here. It's close to the timing mark actually, timing mark indicator. That number is a 23C or 23 Charlie 104094. So it's not a lot of information on that number. I'm having a real hard time finding that one. But I did find a couple of things that would either indicate that it was a service part. Maybe a year after the car was purchased, it had an engine problem, so they shipped a short block, and then they put the heads on. So, some of the other numbers I think I may have shown earlier in the video is the heads are stamped with a 7744, I believe. So it's a period correct engine. It's been mildly built. When I had the oil pan off, I did confirm it's just 2-bolt mains. So one of the things I put together was there was a receipt in the first episode that I don't think I talked a lot about. I might have shown it for a minute. I did. I think I thought it was a tire balancing service or something. Anyway, but I found the rest of the receipt, and it is the balancing specs. So this engine was, when it was rebuilt, was also balanced, which became obvious. There's 3 drill marks on the flywheel. The dampener's been drilled. The number on this receipt, or it's not really a receipt, the balancing totals matches the 7499 on the crank. So that's cool. Engine's been balanced. When I had the engine upside down, the pan was off, I was able to rotate the engine and get some numbers off of the camshaft. On this end, I've got a 233, and just above or below that, I can't remember which direction it was, I have a 050. And on this end, 02 and an 11 stamped in it. So a little internet searching, and I find that it's probably a comp cam, question mark. All right, so it's going to be fun to build. It's got some, or it's going to be fun to drive. It's got some, mild upgrades. It seems like it was all done really well. It ran good before we pulled it out. Well, with the exception of it was flooding and carburetor and all that stuff, but the engine ran okay. No noises or anything bad. So can't wait to see what happens when we get some fuel injection on this. All right, so it's time for me to stop jabberjawing and get this thing put back together so I can get it back in the car. I'm still waiting on the transmission. Hopefully that'll come back soon. Blah, 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 blah. Talking too much. All right, well, that's it. We are on the home stretch. I've got the valve covers fitted. The engine looks really nice. I'm gonna finish off this episode with this valve cover, restoring the grain on it. So earlier in the segment, I showed a block of wood, some 220 on it, and now I'm just gonna get to work, show you how it's done. And it takes a lot of work. And I just keep slow and steady pressure. So I've seen guys use paint thinner, and I've seen people use this method. I've seen some people use paint thinner on a rag. I think there's quite a few different ways to get this done. All right, and after most of these ribs are up. All right, so you kind of get the point. Just keep doing this over and over again. And after you've done it for a while, you end up with that. So with a little time and patience and some cleaning up when you're done, this is what you end up with. It looks really nice. Let me see if I can get you in a little closer here. You can see the finished work. There's a little chip there, I'll work it out later. It's not a big deal. But this is the finished product, guys. And I think it turned out pretty darn good. And yeah, so I'm just gonna keep going on that one. Hey everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching Kenley's Car Stories. I'm really enjoying this 71 GTO project. This was a long one, a lot of cleaning, a lot of monotony. It's like watching paint dry. Not real exciting, but if you stuck around to the end, thanks, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for me. Next steps are gonna be pretty simple. Still a lot of cleaning to do on the frame, all this stuff you see back here. And I sent the transmission out to get some performance upgrades. It worked fine, but it needed a little oomph. Engine, we just finished that in this episode. It's dressed and ready to go. Land back in its home. Start putting this car back together so I can get it off to paint. That's where it needs to go. All right, everyone. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. After I got out, yeah, here you go. Take one. Well, okay. So I wanted to take a minute to talk about, okay, camshaft. Take 7,222.